So this resource inside mathematics has a lot of resources for many different grade levels and many different standards. But there were a couple of, if you scroll down, there were a couple of ideas with respect to time and money that might be appropriate for you to use here in terms of this pocket money task and this Courtney's collection task. I'm not going, problem of the month rather, I'm not going to go through that this afternoon. Just, know that those resources are there and might give you, the Once Upon a Time task is a good one too, might give you kind of a good launching point for teaching about time and money in second grade. So I would not get terribly bogged down in this. I think sometimes we get really, really caught up about, teaching this time and money, and it can kind of suck the rest of the life out of the rest of our program sometimes. But, if you treat it like a counting exercise and you treat it like a number sense exercise, then kids will, be more likely to make those connections. This is an instance, though, where, it might be good to set some kind of, class goal or class activity as far as the time and money and if you want to do a little fundraiser or something like that that can help put that context in place for the students to make sense of it. Okay, so then the last standards for second grade. Now remember, we started with the lengths and standard units. We moved on to addition and subtraction with lengths. Then we did time and money. Now we're going to represent and interpret data. So there's a whole lot we have to do in second grade with measurement and data, particularly measurement. So here, though, is another kind of coherence piece where we're actually going to generate data about measurement. And so we're going to then make those measurements into line plots. And I'll show you an example of what this means and the things you can do with this. And then we're going to draw a picture graph and a bar graph with a single unit scale with up to 4 categories. That's pretty basic. That's pretty straightforward. But as we've talked about in previous sessions, sometimes the most important part of the task, or the standard rather, is at the end. And so I would say that, being able to draw the picture graph and the bar graph are important, but our ultimate goal is this last one. So we're going to do some put together and take apart and comparing problems where, we're going to put 2 categories together, or we're going to, take a category apart and maybe looking at it more detail, those kind of things. And of course, just some comparison problems too. So please make sure when you're teaching the standard that you're incorporating not only the graph generation, but also then the use of those simple problems at the end. And let me share with you an example. This is a map from a task in the illustrativemathematics.org website. And it asks students to measure across a map in different ways and then to create the dot plot. And so you notice here that they didn't use a dot plot maybe in our traditional sense, and they used this color coding. I thought it was a nice way to kind of mix things up with the dot plot. Sometimes those get pretty boring if you just put an X there. But the other thing this does is it allows me very quickly kind of to check my work and see, did I get my 4 measurements from 21 centimeters from the same color that you did? And so it's a way to kind of quickly check your work and make sure that everybody's on the same page. Maybe that I put 4 X's there, but I didn't get the same 4 that you got. And whether or not that makes me correct or incorrect is something that you need to be aware of. So this is one way to compensate for that, kind of instantly see. If not everybody has a brown plot above number 19, then that tells me very quickly that people have different ways of looking at this problem. So that might be something to think about when you're looking at representing data, is that color coding will help you look at those dot plots a little bit, or line plots a little bit differently. The other thing I want to share with you is this show door website because it has kind of an online bar graph that will help. So let me switch out here real quick. There we go. So let me put in that link. And here is what that looks like. So this is a virtual bar graph. This would be a great tool to use if you have a smart board. Oh, just a minute. There we go. There we go. Just had to get my Java started there. So this is an example of some ways that you could generate a class bar graph in a very precise and accurate way. So you can, title the graph whatever you want. You see, I can delete this, and rather than how I divide my day, I could say my favorite thing to do. And then, let's see, I can change, what my data is. I'm going to graph it and see if it changes see, it changes my title. So then I can take my class data in here and create a bar graph. I can change my scale, to make things look a little bit different. And set my min and max. There are those kind of things that you as a teacher will want to kind of regulate for second graders. But you could certainly then go down here and enter the data, where you put the number of people in each category and then the name of the category. So then the children then could absolutely generate lots of questions and make lots of comparisons and combine and break apart categories. So, so this is just a nice simple tool that will help you kind of facilitate bar graphs. And then it has some activities, and this would be actually a good thing to use, if you have a child who's absent or something, where it would help them understand what is a bar graph. Some of the language may be too high for second graders, but it might be a good kind of even an introductory for if you have some teachers who maybe haven't done some of these graphing processes before. So and you can see down here under related resources, there's lots of other kinds of graphing that are under this category for this Showdoor website too. So it's got a lot of rich resources. So then the last piece I wanted to share with you today that gets beyond maybe kindergarten through second grade, but is a resource that I would just draw your attention to. It's on the slide, but I'll type it in here so I don't have to flip-flop through the screen sharing. But it's this website, commoncore.org. And now, please know that this is a commercial group of folks, who are trying to sell their consultants and their materials and whatnot. But what they have is a great resource for math. So if you scroll down a little bit, these exemplars, they're working on math units, and these will not be free eventually. And so right now they have a kindergarten unit that is a 30-day unit on numbers, 10 to 20, and counting to 100 by 1s and 10s. Then they have a grade 2 exemplar, which is a 25-day unit on place value. And so, I'll just click on this, and you can kind of see here when these come down. Literally these are, this is a 313-page unit. So it's kind of overkill. It's not how we would, as teachers, plan, but it definitely gives us lots of ideas about how to teach this unit. And so I wanted to share that with you while it's free. You can go there and download them. They won't be free eventually, but they will be there for purchase. And what I've seen has been really good. Now, just so you know, too, this is not an official endorsement by my employer or anything like this. This is just, a resource that's out there that I would take advantage of. So let me go back. Okay. All right. So I would be doing us an injustice if we didn't spend just a few minutes of our time talking about these standards for mathematical practice. Because certainly, when we're teaching measurement, this is the perfect opportunity to have children be in a problem-solving setting, have them reason abstractly, you know, in terms of what is measurement. It's a comparison as well as the concrete procedure of measuring objects. And as you see here, you know, we could probably incorporate every one of those standards for mathematical practice into our units on these major concepts of measurement and data. So I would encourage you to do that, and it would be a great opportunity, for instance, to really help children develop some of these ideas. So I can very easily, and even in my remediation for measurement, you know, construct viable arguments and critique the reasoning of others. So if I, as a teacher, measure something incorrectly and you have to fix it, that's critiquing the reasoning of others. And it's not that I have to sit down and write a lengthy, you know, essay on why I did things wrong, but it's simply having the opportunity to critique what I'm doing and to make those corrections. So there's plenty of opportunity then in these measurement data standards to give students the chance to foster these standards for mathematical practice. Okay. So this concludes our webinar series. We spent the first webinar talking about numbers, and the second one about operations and algebraic thinking, the third one in geometry, and this one was on measurement and data. So we have addressed the vast majority of the curriculum in this series for K-2. And I would encourage you to keep checking on the resources that I've recommended, in particular the illustratedmathematics.org website, because they do update their illustrations so frequently. We are posting all materials for this webinar series at the warrencountyesc.com website. You have to choose, it's a little two-step process. First, you have to choose district services, then you choose curriculum services, and you'll see the math webinar materials on the right-hand side. So not only do we have this series that you're welcome to use, we also have series for the other great bands. So I would encourage you to please pass those along. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to email me. And I thank you for your time this afternoon and look forward to hearing from many of you soon.